Hi everyone, it's Ritz, and today I'm back with my rabbit's foot fern. So for those people who don't know what a rabbit's foot fern is or why it's called that, it's because they have these little feet out of which the fronds grow. So they kind of look like rabbit's paws, and when you let them grow out, they tend to grow along the edge of the container that you have it in. And so the leaves tend to be kind of delicate and pretty and like frondy. I'm going to try and show you some right now. So I've had this fern for maybe about 6 months at this time, and I've learned a few things about it. It's learned a few things about me. So let's just share all the information that we have on this guy. And I know there's a lot of videos out there on how to care for it. My videos tend to be simpler and easier for like people who want to just learn how to help their fern get better. Sometimes these ferns tend to dry out really easily, so just how to care for them in specific situations and their watering needs, things like that. So they are a medium light plant, so I would not put them in direct sunlight. I have a hanger that's right here against the window, so they get some indirect sunlight that lands on the fern, and this one goes right on the top. As you can see, there's an empty space right there, and that's where this guy usually sits. Now what I did do was, because he's against the wall, you can see that the wall was right here, so he's grown out a lot on one side and not on the other side. But what I do is I turn him around every 4 months, I want to say, so that he has the opportunity to spread out and grow in all directions. So I think the real problem that people have with this, and they feel like, oh, my fern doesn't love me and my fern is dying and I don't know how to take care of it, is very simply that they don't need everyday watering, but they do need for their paws to remain moist fairly often so that they can push out new fronds. And that's kind of why the plants start to look sad or dry. It's because they're just not getting the water on their little feet. So I water this guy about 4 times a week, every alternate day, if that makes it easy. Just simple, easy care for him. I don't water a lot, but I just sort of turn over a spritz can and I go 1, 2, 3, and that's it. I use these bottles which have holes in the top, so if I just turn over the bottle, that makes it the easiest way in which to water these guys. It kind of feels like it's raining for them. Sorry, motors. It kind of allows the water to spread out all over the plant as well, and also go into the soil. So I try and do one heavy watering only once a week, and then for the rest of the times that I water it, I just put a little bit of water, and I make sure that it's definitely hitting all the little feet that you see. And so for temperature, these guys need I guess about 70 Fahrenheit, which is about 25 Celsius. They don't need it very hot. If it does get very warm where you are, just make sure that you're watering frequently enough. That might mean every day as well, because a lot of water will evaporate with the high levels of heat that you may have. All in all, I don't really fertilize. I do fertilize once a year for these guys, but they don't really seem to need it, as long as you make sure that the conditions are moist and relatively cool, so not super hot, and you create a balance between moisture and heat for these guys. They tend to do very well. The one thing I will say is sometimes their edges do dry out. So you'll see like 1 or 2 leaves here that I've kind of trimmed down because they got brown at the ends. What does happen though is, like, because like this, for example, was by the window, by the wall. The wall pressed against it. I don't think it got a bunch of moisture, and that's kind of why it got a little bit brown. But easy and simple, really. Everything else is pretty good. So now that he's been out like this against the wall, this is gonna happen, so I'm gonna have to do this, and so it's gonna be a procedure, but we're gonna figure it out, this guy and I. And so I think those are the big headings that you need to know from a care perspective. If you have any care questions or your fern just really isn't doing very well, let me know. If you ever decide to split a fern like this, you cannot just break off the legs, the rabbit's foot. You can't just break off those pieces. All that's underneath in here is roots as well. So if you're going to split it, I would say cut it in half, like just cut it straight through and through the other side, so that you're gonna get like the top part as well as the bottom when you separate. It works for some people to separate it by the leg, but they also make sure that there's some part of the main root attached. When I try to separate plants, I want to make sure that you're getting a healthy plant that you want, that lives for a long time with you. And so I don't want to give you, I would not give just a foot, like a rabbit's foot, just the foot of the rabbit, to someone unless they were like a pro fern person and they knew exactly how to care for the plant and whatever. A lot of plants don't root well with me, and I mean I've had plants forever, they just don't root well, or they just don't do well, especially if you're mailing it or you're transferring hands, things like that, unless they're like very, very sturdy or just a very prolific plant. They won't necessarily do well, or it might take a long time for them to grow after the person starts to care for them. So those are all the points that I have. Nice short video, super easy care plant. This was my first fern. I never had a fern before this, and I have to say that just making sure like the little feet, the rabbit's feet were wet, and if your plant is doing badly, just make sure it's wet every day until you see the little fiddle heads coming out from the rabbit's feet. And that's pretty much it. They're so simple. And in the spring, all these little white things start to grow out a lot more, so they'll turn out green and white as they grow out, and that makes you know that, like, the rabbits are pushing their paws out. It's a lovely fern. It grows well, and if you care for it, it will show you lots and lots of leaves. So take care. It was good to have spoken with you. Till next time. Bye.